Welcome to No Days Off, a channel for people who feel lost, who feel broken, who feel directionless, who want to do more and want to do better but don't know what step one is. I want to be that mentor for people who feel like that because that's exactly who I was in my mid-20s. I don't want you to make the mistakes I made. Learn from my journey, learn from my experiences, because when you raise your ceiling, you also have to raise your floor. And that's how you change the trajectory of your life. This is how I dropped 55 pounds and transformed my life at 27. Happy New Year, everyone. It's 2026, and this is Gus with No Days Off. In this episode, I want to talk about how I dropped over 55 pounds and transformed my life at 27 years old. Come here. Are you ready? Let's cut the bullshit. It's the new year, and I'm tired of this new year, new me. Let's actually make changes. I'm 41 years old. I'm going to share with you how I transformed and took control of my destiny at 27. In my mid-20s, I got divorced, was living paycheck to paycheck, was over 55 pounds overweight, and was directionless in my career. And one of my best friends pulled me aside and he said, "This can either make you or break you." I recognized at that point that no one was going to save me. I had to fix it my own. So let's start from the beginning. I'm 25 years old. I just got married. I'm living in a gorgeous high-rise in downtown Chicago. On paper, I'm living the dream. Everything is good. Except I stopped growing. I stopped being curious. And I didn't know at the moment, but then I realized afterwards that I was complacent, and that was the start of the downfall. I ended up marrying someone who I thought I was in love with. Not to use age as an excuse, but sometimes you can be in love with the idea of being in love. Unfortunately, that person wasn't my partner, wasn't the one for me. And so a year and a half into that marriage, we separated. 8 months afterwards, we divorced. So now I'm 27 years old, divorced, the first one in my friend group to get married, the first one in my family to get married, now the first one in my friend group to be divorced, the first one in my family to be divorced. And so it was emotionally very heavy for me. Additionally, I didn't take my fitness and health as a priority in my early 20s. And so I was a little overweight at 25 when I got married, probably about 25 pounds overweight. And then unfortunately after the divorce, it got me magnified. I ended up putting another 25 pounds. And by the time I blinked, now I'm 27 divorced, and now I'm over 55 pounds overweight. As someone who's always played sports, has always been athletic, it was a confidence destroyer. Here I was in high school where I played football, basketball, and baseball. I was one of the main guys. And now I can't even run. Growing up, I've always been organized. I always knew my 3-5-year plan. And I think that's what makes my mid-20s so traumatic and so heavy for me, is because, as I mentioned, I stopped growing. I stopped looking ahead. And part of that affected my career as well. And so, because I had a strong woman in my life, I fully owned I stopped growing, and I took 2 or 3 steps back. So I owned that mistake, but unfortunately, what that also meant was I stopped putting my foot on the gas for my career. And I was just very content on having a paycheck. I overspent. I maxed out my credit cards. And so when I was divorced, I realized I had a credit score that was 550, 560, was living paycheck to paycheck. I felt like crap. I felt embarrassed. I felt frustrated. I didn't know what my next move was going to be. And I think that was probably one of the more painful situations that I was in. So this is the moment when I took control of my life. I stopped playing a victim. I stopped blaming others for my problems and my issues. I finally took control of my destiny. And the first step of that was I knew that I needed to get into better shape. And I think when you're in situations where you're in dire or tough times, is that you think to yourself, I can't control anything. And that's a very frustrating spot to be in. But I think for me, the one area where I felt like I had control in was my fitness. And then I was going to the gym 2 or 3 times of the week. Yes, we've all been to the gym when we feel overweight, we don't feel like ourselves, we feel intimidated. But I learned this lesson as well. You have 2 options. Who cares and so what? You don't want to go to the gym today because it's raining, it's cloudy. Who cares? You had a bad day, so what? You still got to do the work. You still got to show up for yourself. You still need to respect yourself. So then I started going to the gym. Started going for 30 minutes, started going for 40 minutes, going on the treadmill, doing light weights, moving the body, being active. That was step 1. Dropped a few pounds there. Then I started doing boxing classes as well. That was fun. That tricked the body, that manipulated the body. Lost a few more pounds there. Started doing Soul Cycle. That was great. And then I had to realize that this was a journey. This wasn't just going to be a quick fix. And then the real transformation occurred about in 2018. Signed up for Orange Theory. At that point, had lost already 30 pounds. Super proud about myself, feeling good. And then at Orange Theory, that's when my fitness level took off to a whole new level. With Orange Theory, for those who aren't familiar, it's a HIIT class. So I'm doing running in the treadmill, I'm doing rowing, I'm doing weights, I'm doing TRX. Every class is different. You are held accountable. It was structured. It tapped into my competitive nature. I freaking loved it. I craved it. And doing Orange Theory for about 1.5 years at that point, I was able to shred those last 15, 20 pounds, be 34, and be in the best shape of my life. So let's keep the theme of New Year's resolutions and bettering yourself, improving yourself. And I want to give you 3 tips on that I practice every day of my life. And that's being intentional, is being consistent, and being intense. And I'll give you a quick example how when you blend all those 3, how it changes your life. So as I mentioned before, I was directionless in my career in my mid-20s. And so that was another area where I put a lot of focus in. And so I want to share with you, when you bring intensity into situations, how that transforms your life. So I started my career working front desk at a hotel in downtown Chicago. And good benefits, the work was fun and challenging, the pay was good, and I was just content. And after my divorce, when I realized I needed to make changes, I really examined myself, and I said to myself, who do I want to be in 5 years? And I put a lot of thought into that. So my goal was always going to be then that person who I always dreamed of becoming. And that was my goal. And so I went from being a front desk person to then being an executive assistant, to then being a sales manager, to then being a regional director of sales, to then in 2020, as an introvert, started my own consulting company, to now doing YouTube. And I did that in 12 years. I transformed my career in 12 years. And was it overnight? No. But here's a tip for you that you can start applying today. You can't change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction overnight. And so you have to be a little patient. And so the changes you make today, the changes you make tomorrow, you're not going to see those outcomes in a week or two. Just like when I started my career and developing that and then losing the weight, you have to play the long game. You have to be consistent. You have to be intentional on those changes. So to recap, the 3 things that I encourage you to start practicing today is be consistent, have intensity, and be intentional. Because I learned this lesson the hard way, is that our habits tell our story. Our habits is a billboard. So whether it's professionally, personally, romantically, if you're constantly being lazy and taking shortcuts, what does your billboard say about you? Are you proud of what that billboard says about you? The answer is no. I have good news. You are the author of that billboard. You decide what that billboard says. So my challenge to you is, what will your billboard in the future say about you? So why should you follow me? So no days off is a mindset that you remove excuses, you stay consistent, and you bet on yourself. And I'm an example of that. Everything I've shared with you, I practiced that, and I've done that, and I've accomplished that. So at 41, I'm in the best shape of my entire life, under 15% body fat. I have an 825 credit score. I am completely debt-free, and I am a strong 6-figure earner. If any of this interests you, follow my channel, like and subscribe, so I can give you those tips so that you can learn from that.